Joining us now with his perspective from across the aisle, Democratic Congressman Subramanyam of Virginia, who's live on Capitol Hill. Congressman, it's good to have you back on Bloomberg TV and radio. There's been a big conversation about extending Obamacare subsidies, tax credits that are set to expire at the end of the year, that might be the item that brings Democrats on board with this plan. But of course, this expires before the end of the year. Would you vote to keep the government open through Thanksgiving?
Look, I'd want to see what's in the bill. They haven't approached me. They haven't approached us. The Republicans who are in charge right now of the House and in charge and have a trifecta have not made any effort to be bipartisan. And so they really need to own this, right? And in the end, I think what they're trying to do is skirt their responsibility to the American people to provide them quality, affordable health care. And so, yeah, the ACA tax credits that would raise premiums significantly for people, that's a high priority for me and for a lot of other Democrats.
Congressman, if that isn't on the table in this round of negotiations, is there something else you and your party are looking at?
Well, it's really simple. It's that, they're taking away the health care benefits. And for me, I represent a lot of federal workers, and we've seen a lot of firings and a lot of infringement upon Congress's spending power. And so I want to see some changes there as well. And so I'm not optimistic because, again, they haven't approached me or any other Democrat really to try to make an effort to work together, which is what I think the American people want. So in the end, I'm going to look at what they give me. And if they don't have any of these items that I've asked for many months now, it's hard for me to support a CR like this.
Understood. I don't know if you're weighing odds of a shutdown right now, Congressman, but there are other conversations being had on Capitol Hill, and one of them has to do with your own safety and security, along with that of your staff, following the killing of Charlie Kirk. Speaker Johnson was to present his Republican conference with options today by way of the chair of the admin committee, Brian Stile, to talk about enhancing security, how much money should be spent, what each member should receive. Have you been briefed as a Democrat? Has the Democratic conference heard about this from Hakeem Jeffries? And do you think the numbers that are being bandied about are high enough?
Yeah, we did get a briefing, and, we had a threat to our own office as well, and we worked with Capitol Police on an investigation, and we took the necessary legal and security measures. But certainly, I think people are on high alert right now. I know I had security for the first time since I got elected to Congress this past weekend when I went to events, especially outdoor public events. And many of the people who were there thanked me for having security, actually, because I don't want other people to feel scared that I'm there, right? Because they might feel I'm a target, and if I don't have security, they become a target as well. So we want constituents to feel safe at our events. We want people to feel safe when they visit our office, and certainly I want my family to be safe as well.
Well, we heard about that threat that was directed at your office. A constituent threatened to bring a firearm to your district office. Did you receive additional security from Capitol Police, Congressman? How did that play out?
Capitol Police did an investigation. I ended up taking legal action by filing a protective order, and we have a temporary one in place. We'll see if a permanent one is needed. And we're working with Capitol Police on enhanced security in my home as well as in our offices as well. We're also looking at how much security, how many security guards we need at our events. But, rest assured to the public, we're going to do everything we can to keep our events secure, and certainly I want to do everything I can to keep my family safe as well.
Well, Congressman, bringing it right back to Joe's initial point, in the stopgap bill that's been proposed, $30 million has been allocated for security measures. Is that number enough to you?
It seems a little low. With that said, we're very efficient with the dollars that we have in our office, and certainly, we prioritize certain events. We'd love more security. It's mostly for the public events where we have a lot of constituents there. We just do not want anything to happen because, people may think it's a lot of money, but in the end, it's about being able to share your opinion, have public discourse, and meet with your constituents, and the constituents meet with your representatives without feeling like there's a threat to someone's life or security. And so that's the cornerstone of our democracy. And so that's worth protecting. It's worth the money to protect that.
President Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance have been among those suggesting that this is not an even playing field, that the threats are coming from the radical left, Congressman, that Republicans are the ones being targeted. We've, of course, seen a series of threats and attacks, even fatal ones, as we saw in Minnesota against Democrats over the past year. Are you worried that this blame game is going in the wrong direction?
Well, the blame game doesn't help, right? You can't say that you want to tone down the rhetoric and then call this a civil war like one person said, or say that this is all coming from one side and we need to pay back, right? So that's not helpful either. I think what is helpful is coming together, certainly, acknowledging that this is happening to both sides. We had in Minnesota 2 lawmakers shot. We had in Michigan a lawmaker almost kidnapped, a sitting governor in Pennsylvania, his house set on fire. I mean, we've had a lot of incidents happen to Democrats too, but we want to acknowledge that it happens to Republicans as well, and we want to acknowledge there's a political violence problem on both parties. I've been calling for hearings now. I want to continue to look at what Congress can do to make people who put themselves out there in the arena safer.
Congressman, I'd like to speak to you about your perch on the Oversight Committee. Can you give us an update and status on the subpoena to the DOJ in terms of the release of the Epstein files? What's the latest there?
You know, the DOJ keeps releasing files, many of which have already been made public before. They're not releasing the files that we're looking for. We were able to get quite a few documents from the estate, which, again, proved that the president had lied about not writing Epstein a letter. You know, Jeffrey Epstein committed one of the worst criminal trafficking rings in history, and so he needs to pay for it, and he never really did. And so Ghislaine Maxwell, we have an opportunity to bring her to justice. We have an opportunity to bring closure to many of the victims, many of whom are now actively helping us in this investigation. But I think as a country, we let them down, the victims, and we owe it to them and owe it to the American people to show that no matter how much power you have, how much money you have, that you will be brought to justice if you sexually exploit young girls like this.
Well, there's an additional Democrat in the House now in James Walkinshaw, who won Jerry Connolly's former seat in your state of Virginia. It would only take one more member of Congress, a D or an R, to force the discharge petition that would also aim to force the release of the Epstein files. Congressman, is that a more efficient path? You only need one more member.
Yes, and we're very happy to have my neighbor in Virginia, James Walkinshaw, Adelita Grijalva as well in Arizona. We expect her to be elected on September 23rd, and I think that might be the final signature. Now I'd like to see, one, how Republicans actually vote on the release of the files. They've been talking a big game about this. Let's see how they actually vote on the floor. And then two, if the vote is successful, I want to see the president and this administration release it. I'm not optimistic about that, but we're certainly going to force the issue because, again, the American people deserve the truth and deserve transparency.
Stay in touch with us on this. Democratic Congressman Subramanyam of Virginia, we thank you for the conversation on balance of power. President Trump arrived a short time